My 6.5-year journey is interesting. I didn't have a lot of financial help growing up. My parents didn't go to college. I was one of 4 kids, and my parents were living on one income for a long time. So my mom could raise us at home. And we lived in like a really tiny apartment in LA. I shared 1 bedroom with all my siblings for like a big portion of my life. But at the time, like, you're a kid and you don't think anything of it. You're like, this is home. Like, I don't know any different. So they'd give me the necessities. I always had food on the table, clothes on my back, like stuff like that. But any extra fun stuff that I wanted on the side, I bought for myself with like babysitting money that I saved up. And then when I graduated high school, I didn't have any cash. So I had to take a year off to save up money to go to community college. And like, I didn't really get scholarships. My ACT score was pretty low. So like, my chances of getting anything from that was pretty much 0, because the 19 on my ACT was like, she's stupid, you know, like, it's so stupid. So anyway, I saved up, bought my first car, cash, like paid for it all by myself, and I started school, and I was working almost full time for the 3 years that I was getting my associates. So I was working 2 jobs a lot of times, just trying to pay the bills, because like once I turned 18, my parents were like, okay, you're responsible for all your own bills and everything. You're really tough, because I was seeing all my other friends like starting to graduate, starting to move on with their lives and like go and like do cool things, and I was just like, I'm stuck here in the town I grew up in, and everything's like shitty and miserable, and like, why didn't I have this opportunity that other people did? So in the moment, I was really bitter about my situation, and I didn't understand. I had a lot of growing up to do in terms of that aspect. And then I got my associates after 4 years of high school, or 4 years after high school, sorry. And then I transferred to NIU last fall. So I have in total 2.5 years that I'll be finishing up there. But now, like, looking back on my life, I think even though I went at a little bit slower pace than most people, 1, I was debt-free for my first 2 years of college, and 2, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I don't think I would have been ready, even if I had finished in 4 years, to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go like be an adult and go do my thing. I'm really happy with where I am, where my life is, and like, even though it's not the kind of life I had painted for myself, like, I've had so many great opportunities, and I think I ended up exactly where I needed to be, even though my path was a little bit different than most people. So my first job was at Subway. That was a terrible time. The job itself was super easy, but the people that I worked with were just cranky old people, and they, for whatever reason, were like, they just didn't want to like me. I don't know if it's because I was young and happy and like full of positivity, but they were just like, we just really want to drag her down. And they started making up stuff about me to the manager, and the manager would like get in my face about it. But I ended up getting a job at a bakery right across the street. So I worked there for like 2 years, and it was arguably the worst food service job I've ever worked. The worst. I mean, Subway was bad, but like, it was mostly because of my coworkers. But like, the customers were just the nastiest, meanest people I've ever dealt with in my entire life. It was so degrading, because I knew my worth, and I knew that I was better than the way that they would treat me. And there were times where people would come in, and like, the cash register and like the counter from like where they would stand was like kind of far. So like, I'd be standing here, and they'd be like, you know, maybe over here, and like, I would ask them for their payment, and they would just like hold it. Or they'd set it down in front, like right in front of them. So I would literally have to like jump over the counter and like reach and grab it from them, because they didn't have the decency to like slide it, or like just reach, like go halfway and hand it to me. Just stuff like that. Just like making me work for it. And it's like, what kind of a person does that? And you could tell, like, they didn't give a shit about you whatsoever when they did that. They were like, you're just some lowly like cashier at a bakery, like, why should I care? So it's like, that experience for a long time was driving me crazy. Like, my anxiety and depression was like through the roof, and I had like suicidal thoughts like at the time, just because of how shitty people were to me. And anybody who's worked in food service can definitely attest to that, I'm sure, at some point. It's just, or just service jobs in general, like, people are just mean. Right. But even still, like, I knew, I'm like, I have to get out of this. I have to have a better life for myself, so I'm never in a position where people can treat me like that. And that's not to say that like you could be successful and people wouldn't be rude to you, but people respect money and status. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. So I just vowed to like never be in that position again. For one, as cheesy as it sounds, it's character building. And if anybody had said that to me in the moment, I probably would have punched them in the face. But shut up. But yeah, I would say it made me a lot stronger. I had issues with with anxiety and like self-deprecation for a long time and stuff too, and so it's helped me kind of grow a little bit more of a backbone, to be able to know, one, my self-worth, and be able to vocalize that, like if I'm really